Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the 21st Asia Oceania Congress of Medical Physics. We are here to the parallel session 1B, that is radiology and imaging. This is online hall B, and here we have our chair and co-chair. First of all, I would like to introduce our chair, Engineer Catherine Ends. She is the medical physics expert, University Hospital, Frankfurt, Germany. And our today's co-chair is Dr. Jayasingham Jayasugitham. He is the Department of Nuclear Science, Faculty of Science, University of Colombo, Colombo 03, Sri Lanka. Now I would like to describe about our co-chair a little bit more. Our chair, Ms. Catherine Eds, is present medical physics expert at the University Hospital, Frankfurt, Germany. She is also an active participation in the German standard body DAY1 from 2015. She was the former lecturer at the Radiographer School in Manchester, Germany from 2015 to 2018. From 2011 to 2018, medical physicist at the University Hospital Manchester, deputy head of physico-technical quality control at the Reference Center for Mammography, Manchester. In 2011, she was in Masters of Science in Medical Physics at the T.H. Mittelsen University of Applied Sciences in Gaiben, Germany. Master's thesis at Landeur, Europe in Frontiere Auxerrois, France. In 2010, uh, she completed diploma in engineering in medical engineering at the University of Applied Sciences from Germany, diploma thesis at the Fraunhofer Institute for Laser Technology in Aachen, Germany. In 2018, Bachelor of Science First Class Honors in Biomedical Engineering at the University of Ulster in Georgetown, Northern Ireland. In 2018, Bachelor of Engineering in Clinical Engineering at the University of Applied Sciences in Germany. She was also member of the Dutch uh, Rockgen Gesellschaft DRG at Aerobatics, Physics and Technique. Now let's welcome our co-chair, Dr. Jayasingham. Dr. Jayasingham has completed his PhD doctorate degree in physics in December 2014, Department of Physics, University of Cape Town, South Africa. He's majored in proton beam radiotherapy, medical physics. Title of dissertation: experimental investigation of the characteristics of promote germs produced in tissues during proton therapy treatment. He is currently associated as senior lecturer in medical physics, Department of Nuclear Science, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka since July 2016. Associate, uh, Associate of the ICTP from January 2019 to December 2024. He is also the program coordinator, MSc in medical physics since August 2017. Visiting consultant, medical physicist, cancer treatment unit, base hospital, Telepalli, Jaffna, Sri Lanka since July 2016. Visiting lecturer in medical physics, Trincomalee campus, Eastern University, Sri Lanka since January 2018, and the coordinator for clinical training program and workshop for junior medical physicists and technologists in Sri Lanka. Welcome our chair and co-chair. Completed. Now I would like to hand over to the organizers, to the chair and co-chair for the session.
Hello, good day. I would like to request our chair and co-chair to conduct this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I would also like to welcome everyone to the session in radiology and imaging, together with my co-chair. We have a lot of interesting topics today, and we are going to start with one of our invited speakers, namely Colin J. Martin from the Department of Clinical Physics and Bioengineering of the University of Glasgow in Scotland. Dr. Colin Martin worked as a hospital-based medical physicist in radiation protection in Glasgow and Aberdeen, Scotland for over 30 years. He is now retired from the NHS, but is an honorary senior lecturer for the University of Glasgow. Colin is vice chair of ICRP Committee 3, Protection in Medicine, chairs 2 ICRP task groups, and is a member of several others. He is a member of various UK and EU working parties, COMER, which advises the UK government on medical uses of radiation, and he has chaired 2 IAEA technical meetings on avoidance and prevention of radiation incidents in medicine. His research interests include radiation protection, diagnostic radiology, radiation dosimetry, and non-ionizing physics. He has co-authored, edited several textbooks on radiation protection, written over 300 articles, including 150 papers in peer-reviewed scientific journals. Colin is a member of editorial boards for the Journal of Radiological Protection and Radiation Protection Dosimetry. So I would like now to hand over to Dr. Colin J. Martin and his presentation.
Good day to you all. Thank you for inviting me to speak on this topic. My name's Colin Martin, and I'm chairing a task group for ICRP on the radiological protection aspects of optimization in digital radiology. So I want to talk about some of the challenges that digital radiology imposes, processes involved in optimization. I'll say a bit about patient dose audit, then talk a bit about the individual X-ray modalities, and then the importance of training. So the core principles of optimization for clinical images are that the images should be of sufficient quality to ensure that an accurate and reliable diagnosis is made and enable correct clinical decisions. So the radiation doses used to achieve the images should have been adjusted to the minimum level required to provide an adequate image. So if we look at the risks and try and compare the clinical risk with the radiation risks. So this graph compares risk against image quality or radiation dose. So as the image quality increases, then the clinical risk from failure to make a diagnosis decreases. But while that's happening, the radiation dose will increase. So we want to get to a point where these two risks are balanced, where the minimum risk, where the total risk is a minimum. That's the total risk marked by the black line. So if we think about digital X-ray imaging, there are various routines in place which select the grayscale to be the optimum for us to view as physicists or clinicians. So the challenge with digital radiology is because of this adjustment in the grey levels of the image, the superficial appearance of the image gives little indication of the exposure level. So we need to ensure that the patient doses are acceptable. And if you look at these 3 images, A, B and C, underexposed, optimal and overexposed, from a superficial glance, there's little difference between them. Now, another problem with digital X-ray technology is that we have more and more dose-saving devices, but the digital X-ray equipment implementing these is becoming ever more complex. So this requires high level of expertise from both the operators and medical physicists to ensure that doses are optimum. And patient doses could be unnecessarily high if the wrong settings are used, and then because the image appears essentially the same, staff will be unaware that anything is amiss. So how do we achieve optimization? Well, there's several different components needed in the hospital system. First of all, the radiologists, radiographers, medical physicists all have their individual skills and need to work together, not separately. Secondly, there's methodology and technology, measurement performance, and the evidence that you obtain about the degree of optimization needs to be assessed and fed back into the preparation of protocols. And then there's the organizational protocols. You need to have systems in place to ensure that equipment is tested, that dose audits are carried out, and these should all be documented, and links established for implementation and monitoring of optimization. And all these require facilities, training, the time to develop the experience, they need a structure and organization. So they all feed into this. So what we've done is present this in a sort of diagrammatic representation. So on the left-hand side, you've got professionalism. So at the basic level, you might get rigid professional roles, so everybody performing them rigidly but not communicating. And as we gradually improve, we develop into multi-professional teams. So we've categorized these different levels into basic, intermediate, and advanced. So as you gradually improve the level of optimization, you move through these and upwards on this diagram. So as far as methodology, you've got the basic dose performance, and then gradually developing that into a system developed from measuring metrics which are much more based on the actual imaging task for clinical images. And then in the processes, rather than isolated site-specific activities and sporadic documentation, we gradually work towards a system where things are performed at required intervals and there's harmonization across the whole organization. So within each component, the levels of performance that have been achieved that will be very different in different organizations depending on the facilities, staff, experience and funding. So we've tried to divide things up to make this a little more obvious exactly what you might be doing at your facility. So looking at this in a different way, where working professional teams, radiologists, radiographers and medical physicists perform the roles separately and independently, then it's at this point where diagnostic reference levels start to come in as we move from the basic to the intermediate level. Then you get optimization teams comprising radiographers, radiologists and medical physicists set up who can follow this process through, make the comparisons between the dose surveys and DRLs, and then review and optimize protocols. And so that finally we get the whole group of professionals working together as a team, continually reviewing clinical protocols. So the methodology is the evaluation of image quality, the performance testing, feeding into patient dose audits, comparison with DRLs, and then evidence-based preparation of protocols. And then into the analysis and evaluation of radiological images by the professional team. So improving protocols based on experience or comparison with benchmarks, but doing this on a regular basis. And then the processes that are in place may be ad hoc. Protocols may just be based on local experience, and there's limited documentation. That's for level C. Moving to level B, documented arrangements for equipment testing, systems for periodic dose surveys, and evidence-based clinical protocols. And then level A, systems for establishing clinical protocols, performance testing, dose surveys, applied across the whole organization, monitored through a quality system. So you've got continual live review and optimization of imaging protocols. So let's take a look at patient dose audit. This requires knowledge of doses delivered to patients. That's the first step really in the optimization process. So in patient dose audit, median values of patient dose distributions are compared against diagnostic reference levels. And then the DRL values should be based on measurements of patient doses for specific medical imaging examinations. And the sort of measurable X-ray quantities that might be used, Kerma area product, instant air Kerma for radiography, CT dose index and dose length product for CT. So in dose surveys are required to establish DRLs, and here examinations should be representative of procedures performed in the region that make a significant contribution to the collective dose. Now that electronic data collection is much more widely available, you can get much larger numbers of patients. If you can't have access to this, then some standardization of patient weight will be needed. And the personnel involved in performing the exams, they should be involved in this whole process. So they should have ownership or involvement in the process. So it's again, this multidisciplinary approach helps to ensure that results of those surveys are fed back to the operators to make changes. So median values from distribution for each X-ray room or hospital. We then look at this distribution. Typically 20 or 30 facilities may be sufficient for initial survey. We take the 75th percentile in the dose distribution for all the hospitals and use that as the DRL. And then even if you're unable to survey enough facilities to set a DRL in this way, it will still identify those facilities where doses are higher. So the patient dose audit system, we've got DRL quantities being measured and collected. We calculate the median value, then compare that with the DRL. If it's greater than DRL, we review the technique, the exposure setting, the equipment performance, and then recommend an optimization strategy and work with radiographers to implement the changes, and then go back and resurvey. So how does DRL fit into our optimization model? Well, we've got system for regular dose audit included in the procedures. Then patient dose audit results are compared with the DRLs and equipment testing data. And then the requirement for optimization is part of this process. So that means that performance against the DRL will be fed back automatically into adjusting the protocols. So I want now to look briefly at some of the X-ray imaging modalities. So for digital radiography, we need to establish the exposure factors, KV and MAS, but an important thing is to calibrate the automatic exposure control, because that has quite a significant effect on the exposure for radiography systems. Radiographers need to collimate the X-ray beam to the region of interest. But another thing is to monitor the exposure index on the digital system, because this gives an indication of the exposure level, and we can set target levels for particular body parts being imaged. That can help us in picking up any exposure creep. So if setting a target index should be linked to the optimal exposure for each body part, so this needs to be determined by the optimization team. And then the target value will depend on the noise level required. But the AAPM have recommended a deviation index defined in this way. So you're comparing the value you get with the target. And then if the deviation index is between minus 0.5 and plus 0.5, that will be the target range. If it's above that, then we need to consider whether that's an overexposure. If it's below that, then an underexposure. But this method will help us follow how the exposures are progressing. So for fluoroscopy guided procedures, optimization requires appropriate selection and configuration of a complex set of design features. So these need to be tailored to the clinical tasks and the required image quality level. And QC programs should evaluate the performance of all the exposure modes to aid selection of appropriate options. So fluoroscopy systems incorporate an automatic dose rate control, and this adjusts the exposure parameters and instant chroma at the image receptor to deliver a constant signal intensity. But the KV and the MA can be adjusted in different ways, and this graph shows how the tube potential and tube current might be adjusted with respect to each other. So if you raise the tube potential KV rapidly, then that gives a lower dose, and that might be suitable for pediatric exposures. Whereas if you want to get quite high contrast for iodine studies, then you want to maintain a lower KV to get that contrast, and this will result in a higher dose to the surface, to the surface of the patient. Now turning to computed tomography, appropriate selection of scanning parameters requires understanding of the imaging task. So you might use 100 kV with iodine contrast for smaller patients, but that wouldn't be appropriate for larger patients. Dose reduction features are available, but unnecessarily high doses can be delivered if these aren't used correctly. And the impact that the exposure parameters have on patient dose will go undetected unless dose levels are monitored. And for computed tomography, the balance is between dose, MAS, slice width, pitch, KV. They're all interdependent. Then we've got things like iterative reconstruction to consider, which can improve image quality. So the operator can choose a scan at the same dose with better image quality, or they can lower the dose through the scan parameters to achieve the similar image quality to the standard. And the dose reduction should depend on the clinical task, but dose reductions of 25% to 75% have been achieved. And there's automatic tube current modulation, where the average attenuation value is obtained for each rotation from the scan projection radiograph to vary the MA automatically along the body. So this shows how the tube current varies, and so in the area of the lung, a lower tube current is used because it's a lower attenuation. So the ATM changes the dose to the patient depending on their body size as well. And in fact, different vendors use different image quality references. So some maintain a constant noise level, whereas others use an image or MAS for a reference patient. And I've plotted here the dose against patient size, and systems that use a noise reference, if that isn't changed for larger patients, can give significantly higher doses. So all scans in CT should be performed according to settings agreed and established when a CT scanner is installed and commissioned. The initial protocols should be set up for examinations performed frequently, and protocols should be developed with the input from radiologists, CT radiographers and medical physicists. And the protocols should then be reviewed and revised periodically. And as a guide, initially when setting up protocols, the AAPM have developed a set of protocols for specified diagnostic tasks that can be accessed via the internet. So what are the requirements to achieve optimization? Optimization depends on the equipment itself, and the people with the knowledge and experience to make proper use of the equipment. So failure to adjust imaging protocols to patient size or the clinical question can result in unnecessarily high or low doses or poor image quality. So there's two important aspects to this. There's proper training of operators. So investment in training is important. It ensures that staff understand and are familiar with the new technology and appropriate settings, and that they're able to fine-tune the equipment settings to achieve better results. But on top of that, you need ongoing monitoring, review and analysis. And this is really key to taking optimization forward. It ensures that performance levels are maintained and improved. So we've got the team working together to ensure this. So the message to take forward is that the approach to optimization should be geared to the level of expertise and facilities available in the country. Patient dose audit against DRLs is an essential tool in achieving optimization, and consider the different aspects involved in the optimization process. Identify where your department, your hospital needs to improve. There's professionalism. Are all the radiographers, radiologists and medical physicists working together as a team? Methodology, do you have all the equipment performance tests, the dose audit systems in place? And then processes, do you have systems to ensure that everything is done at the appropriate times periodically? So the aim should be to set up arrangements whereby different specialties work together as a team. Each feeds in results from their practice and measurements to continually develop and improve optimized protocols. And the message that I want you to take forward is optimization is a continual process with regular monitoring. It's not something, once you've created the DRL, that's only the start of the process. That tells you where you need to optimize. So I'd like to thank the other members of the task group that I've given here. We hope to produce reports in the next 1 to 2 years, and thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much, Dr. Colleen Martin, for your nice presentation. So I have one question from you. So in a country like Sri Lanka, we don't have any proper quality assurance program. So how this quality assurance program affect the dose optimization? So do we need proper quality control program first, and then we need proper dose optimizations?
We've tried to divide. We've tried to divide the process. I mean, there's so many different components which are all important. So I think you need to look at what you have in your department. Do you have the instruments and the experience to test the equipment? Are the physicists, radiologists, radiographers communicating regularly so that any information one has is fed between them? And I think probably checking that you have those systems in place, and once they are in place, then setting up some sort of quality system to say you do patient dose audits every 3 years or what, well, or maybe every year for CT. You actually, everybody takes the dose information, they take the image quality evaluation from the radiologist, and they consider all that when modifying the protocols, and they do that periodically so that there are systems for regular review of all the protocols.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So any questions from other audience?
Well, I do have another question. You stressed how important the teamwork is. What's your experience with forming these teams of radiographers, radiologists, and medical physicists? Do you see a competition between those, or are they readily working together?
I mean, they should be working together, obviously, but I think in many places I found that, or many organizations, I found that there isn't that close communication, and as a result, nothing really happens. So people do measurements and it's not fed into development. But what we need is each individual specialty should respect the skills and knowledge of the others, so that we all have a slightly different component or experience and knowledge to contribute to it. And we've got to make sure that we respect the position of each of those. So I think it's very much a change of culture. We've just got to get into a position of acknowledging our own skills, but acknowledging those of all the other groups, and making sure we feed into the process, that we're all moving together.
Thank you very much. So if there are no further questions, we can move on to our next speaker or next presentation by Ji Zhang from China. The topic is multimodal radiomics identifies primary tumor types in patients with brain metastasis.
Dear Professor, today I'm honored to attend this meeting. My name is Ji Zhang. I'm come from the first affiliated hospital of Wenzhou Medical University. Today my topic is multimodal radiomics identifies primary tumor types in patients with brain metastases. I will report on this study from 4 aspects. The first, background, the second, measures and methods, the third, result, and the last, discussion and conclusion. Tumor brain metastasis refers to the intracranial transfer of tumor cells originating from other parts of the body. Lung cancer, breast cancer, and skin cancer most often develop brain metastases, accounting for about 16.7% to 18% of patients with brain metastases. Imaging is important to determining the diagnosis of brain metastases, and MRI is a preferred imaging modality. Moreover, CT is also an acceptable primary measure for BMS screening. Occasionally, BMS were detected prior to the diagnosis of their primary tumor site. In this study, we used this radiomics approach to identify primary types of patients with brain metastases. The study flow of this study is shown in the future. First, we outline the region of interest of the image, then extracted radiomics feature from the ROI. Next, we screened out some features from numerous features for model building. Finally, we built models to evaluate the results. In this study, we reviewed the lung and breast cancer patients treated at our hospital from January 2016 to December 2020. Patients without the CT images and the MRI images were excluded. In addition, patients with CT acquisition time varies. MRI acquisition time of more than 15 days were also excluded. About imaging education and tumor segmentation, we obtained the CT images and MRI images for each patient. We manually outlined the tumor areas using the software 3D Slayer and ITK. For 2 or more metastases or levels of each lesion were delineated. Furthermore, the expression and analysis of dynamic features were based on single beam lesion. All images were in DCOM format and no image persisted. We used person radiomics for all tumor regions for future expression. Based on orange images and certain failures, 7 classes of features were extracted. About the future selection in the training set, we used a 2-step feature screening to select the final feature. Firstly, potential informative radiomics features were selected first by many-variant U-test for those with a p-value less than 0.05. Then we used the LISO to select the final feature. The selected features were used to build models. 2 models, logistic regression models and support sector machine models, were built and evaluated based on selected radiomics features from CT alone, MRI alone, and combining images. We divided the entire dataset into 17% training sets and 13% test sets. This study used BUS and R performed the analysis about model performance. The AOCMP assessed using 5-fold cross-validation in the training set and feature in the test set. A total of 78 BM patients were enrolled in the study. A total of 179 metastatic lesions, including 19.5 from primary lung cancer and 18.4 from primary breast cancer, were redomed into the training set and the test set. According to the test, we selected 116 features from 1,288 CT features, and we selected 132 features from 1,198 MRI features. A total of 10 and 6 opportunity radiomics features were screened out of CT features and MRI features respectively. The selected CT and MRI radiomics features are shown in the table. The value of P is less than 0.05. In the training dataset, the achieving mean AOCs with 5-fold cross-validation of 3 logistic regression models and 3 SVM models were 0.703 vs 0.751, 0.718 vs 0.754, and 0.781 vs 0.803 for CT alone, MRI alone, and combined CT and MRI respectively. In the testing dataset, the achieved AOCs of 3 logistic regression models and 3 SVM models were 0.708 vs 0.763, 0.715 vs 0.717, and 0.771 vs 0.805 for CT alone, MRI alone, and combined CT and MRI respectively. Table 3 shows the AOC-CI sensitively and spectively implemented by several models in the test set. There are still some limitations to this study. The dataset from single center The sample size was not large enough, and due to the number of cases, brain metastases in other primary sets are not enrolled in this study. In conclusion, CECT-based and TEWMI-based radiomics is feasible to identify the primary sets of brain metastases. The combination of multimodal images helps to improve the prediction accuracy of the model. Thank you for the listening. Thank you.
Is Jisang present for answering any questions, or should we move on with the next presentation? So I don't think he is here. Then maybe we should simply go to the next presentation. It's the first by Katsumi Tsuyoka from Japan.
Fujita Health University.
The topic is the precision improvement of the Agatston score using the latest multi-slice CT, thin-slice CT scan, and Agatston score correction.
My name is Hello, my name is Tsujioka at Fujita Health University in Japan. My presentation title is Precision Improvement of the Agatston score using the latest multi-slice CT, thin-slice CT scan, and Agatston score correction. Background. The Agatston method is one of calcium scoring used widely in clinical field. However, as for it, slice thickness is appointed with 3 mm and slice interval is appointed with 3 mm. This is a scan condition in the very old CT machine. Proposed, we tried calcium scoring in the thinner slice, and we utilized this experiment result for the precision improvement of the Agatston method. Material. We use the CT scanners is Alexion 16 slices, Canon Medical Systems Japan, 1 mm slice, and 16 slices. Phantom is a handmade calcium phantom, hydroxyapatite. Electric actuator for phantom movement is we use Misumi Industrial Supply Companies in Japan, and ImageJ and ZioCube, ZioSoft company Japan. This is a phantom. We use a handmade qualified phantom for an experiment. It's a very simple phantom and hydroxyapatite tablet. True volume is 16 cubic millimeters is inside of the styrofoam. And the scan. The phantom set it up on the moving table, which excites in the z-axis direction. We change the slice thickness of the CT scanning with 1 mm, 2 mm, and 3 mm. The volume of the clarification was measured. The table start position was changed 0.25 mm interval by 40 times. And this is the scan parameter. We change the slice thickness and reconstruction interval 1 mm and 2 mm and 3 mm. Analysis volume measurement. The ROI region of interest was set to surround the clarification using image J. And Agatston score measurement. It is established to evaluate it with slice thickness 3 mm, an image of reconfiguration space 3 mm by the Agatston method. Agatston score is volume of clarification threshold 130 Hounsfield unit by Agatston factor. Agatston factor is depend on the peak CT value of the clarification. 130 to 199 is 1, and 200 to 299 is 2, and 300 to 399 is 3, and over 400 is 4. This is a result image. This image is the table start position is 0.5 mm, and the slice thickness was changed 1 mm and 2 mm and 3 mm. 3 mm slice thickness is the old Agatston method. This is a different table start position, 3.5 mm. 3 mm slice is the old Agatston method. This is a change of the volume of clarification by the position of the z-axis direction. 1 mm slice, the volume of clarification is no change, is a very high accuracy, and the hydraulic appetite to volume is 60 square cubic millimeters, is However, the 2 millimeter slice and the 3 millimeter slice is a very large error. Change of the Agatston score by the position of the axis direction in 3 millimeter thickness and 3 millimeter interval. This is depend on the partial volume effect. And this situation, classification, hydroxy apatite is in both slice thickness is error is very high. However, this situation, hydroxy apatite is inside of the one slice. The error is very small. Our suggestion, a volume scan is carried out with the slice thickness which is thinner than Agatston method 3 mm in the current CT device. It causes an error and change to find Agatston score with 3 mm slice thickness and 3 mm slice interval. We multiplied 1/3 for a result of the Agatston score of slice thickness 1 mm. We multiply 2/3 for a result of the Agatston score of slice thickness 2 mm. In this way, we can reduce an error and change by the partial volume effect. Conclusion. The Agatston method is a convenient method for calcium scoring. However, the techniques of the Agatston method uses an old CT device. We developed a method for Agatston method that have high precision in a new CT device. When we use 3 mm thickness, the Agatston score greatly fluctuates by a partial volume effect. We can reduce the influence of the partial volume effect if we calculate Agatston score from data of the thin slice thickness in the current CT device.
So thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? So I think there's no questions. Then we can move to next session. Next speaker, Susmita Apros. The topic is cluster size analysis of ALP-BDE CMOS pixel sensor for proton CT.
Hello, everyone. Thanks to the 21st Asia-Oceania Congress of Medical Physics Organizing and Selection Committee for giving me the opportunity to present my work. I feel privileged and honored to be a part of this conference. I'm Susmita Afros from University of Bergen, Norway. Today, my presentation topic is cluster size analysis of Alpide CMOS pixel sensor for proton CT. This study was a part of Bergen Proton City project. In my today's presentation, I'll be discussing about Proton City, MAPS Alpide. Afterwards, Alpide test results for cluster size analysis will be discussed. And finally, I will conclude with discussion. Before I talk about proton city, I decided to start with proton therapy. Or why not something even wider? Let's start with particle therapy. Nowadays, particle therapy is nothing new. This is recognized as a much more efficient way of cancer treatment than conventional photon therapy. The number of patients receiving particle therapy worldwide is increasing. The efficiency of particle therapy comes from the unique feature of heavy charged particle that is named as Bragg peak. Bragg peak gives the localized energy deposition and high doses to well-defined target volume, minimizing the healthy tissue irradiation. Proton therapy came into the clinical practice in 1990, and worldwide there are 66 proton therapy facilities in operation, 43 under construction, and 21 in planning stage. The main limitation of proton therapy is obtaining information from conventional X-ray CT. Attenuation map of X-ray in the tissue is converted to stopping power map of proton in the same tissue, and that leads to range uncertainty in dose calculation because proton interact differently than photon. The range uncertainty in clinical practice with single energy photon CT is up to 7.4%. In particle therapy, range uncertainty is dealt with increasing target volume or avoiding beam direction with a critical organ behind the tumor. But for advanced dose planning, range uncertainty is estimated very low, nearly 1.7% with a dual energy X-ray CT. And this range uncertainty can be further reduced up to 0.3% with the help of proton CT. Proton CT also eliminates the associated uncertainties in converting X-ray attenuation to proton stopping power, and it can directly map the relative stopping power from proton energy loss measurement. This is the time when proton CT put forward for clinical use. Here we have a schematic of proton CT. Protons with known entry energy are recorded one by one in the detector reference system as they traverse the image object from many different projection angles. The recorded data include entry and exit positions as well as entry and exit angles. The exit energy is recorded in the energy detector or calorimeter. There are 4 trackers, 2 upstream, 2 downstream. Particles are tracked one by one. The detector in proton CT required to be designed with detectability of high energetic proton beam with intensity nearly 10 to the power 9 proton per second traversing the target. To detect this high intensity proton and perform in a harsh radiation environment, the detector requirement for proton CT are also very high. Some of the requirements are given here. Considering these detector requirements, Bergen Proton City project is designed to have a digital tracking calorimeter that merge tracking and energy measurement system into one robust system. This digital tracking calorimeter contains multiple layers of monolithic active pixel sensor with high granularity. In the figure of general structure of Bergen Proton City system, there are 41 calorimeter layers. For Bergen Proton City, Alpide CMOS pixel sensor is proposed as a building block of digital tracking calorimeter. Alpide chip consists of around 500,000 pixels in 1024 column and 512 row with a small chip area of 15 mm by 30 mm. Because of some unique feature like in-pixel readout circuitry, zero suppression, and external trigger control mode, Alpide is considered as most suitable pixel detector for Proton City. Now, the objective of this study is to analyze Alpide CMOS pixel sensor response for cluster size analysis with different type of radiation. Before analyzing the sensor response, it is important to know how the sensor sense any radiation. Electron-hole pairs are generated near the point of interaction when particles hit the sensor. These charge carriers are deflected and contained within the epitaxial layer, and when diffusing electron reach the depletion region, they are collected as a signal by the electrode associated with the front-end readout electronics. For this study, an Alpide sensor was irradiated with different type of radiation source available at the laboratory in order to investigate the cluster size. Now, what is cluster? Cluster is a group of pixels that shows signal above a certain threshold caused by sharing the same charge. In this slide, we can see some sealed radioactive sources. These are the sources used for the study. Here we have americium-241 as an alpha source. We have strontium-90 as a beta source, iron-55 as a monoenergetic gamma source, and a variable energy X-ray source. This sensor chip was irradiated by all these sources for the same period with same parameter setting. From the chip, we have the first heat map. This heat map shows a large number of pixels, or you can say heat pixel. These heat pixels are generated by photon emitted from iron-55, which was the source of monoenergetic X-ray. Photon energy was nearly 6 keV. This large number of heat helps to even visualize a broken column in sensor chip. The cluster histogram gives a significant peak, indicates a localized energy deposition, and a single event cluster containing 3 pixels typically. This heat map is from the beta source. In the histogram, the smaller clusters are generated from high energetic beta particle, nearly 2.27 MeV, that mostly go through the detector. The bigger clusters are made from low energetic beta, nearly 546 keV. In this slide, we have the heat map from alpha particle. From alpha particle, we have some of the cluster really big. Here, we have a cluster, a big cluster, consists of 22 pixels. But the mean cluster size from alpha particle is nearly 12 or 13. For variable energy X-ray sources, the cluster sizes are given here. The mean cluster size is increasing with increasing source energy, but it drops at 50 keV. As you know, soft X-ray interact predominantly via the photoelectric effect with silicon. So here, photoelectron generated by 50 keV photon might not deposit all its energy in the detector epitaxial layer, and as a consequence, the cluster size reduces. In this slide, the chart illustrates the X-ray interaction probability for different energy in silicon. We can see that different interaction probability changes with particle energy. Here, the graph is a quick presentation of mean cluster size over energy. Mean cluster size is increasing until 36 keV, but at 50 keV, the cluster size drops. And as we discussed before, this is probably because of the less energy deposition by the photoelectron. Cluster size is the indication of how much energy is deposited in the detector epitaxial layer. This energy deposition is also called linear energy transfer. 5 MeV alpha particle deposit all its energy in the 25 micrometer epitaxial layer of the detector. Low energy beta particle deposit energy by generating electron hole pair. Deposited energy is nearly 9.46 keV. High energetic beta particle mostly go through the material and most of the energy is transmitted outside. Energy deposition is nearly 6.5 keV. X-ray source less than 50 keV deposit most of its energy in the epitaxial layer. So from this table, we can see the mean cluster size is reducing with reducing deposited energy. Finally, in the discussion, I would like to say that this study of cluster analysis helps to understand the particle types after detection, because the sensor's response to different radiation is only recorded as pixel hit, in other way cluster size. The sensor designed for protonicity is sensitive to all types of radiation, but only proton information is required for tracking the traversing path as well as energy loss in the object to be imaged. This study also gives the proof of energy dependency of cluster size that indicates the possibility to assume the energy of the traversing particle from the cluster size. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you everyone for your attention. Any question, please?
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Are there any questions?
Hi, Susmita. I have one general question. So what about the patient, regarding the patient dose, what about the patient dose, it is higher than, definitely lower than, how much percentage lower than that in the X-ray?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hi, thank you for your question. Actually, I'm now at a airport, so I mean, correct me if I didn't hear you properly. But so far, I understood that you wanted to know that if the patient dose has reduced or not, right? The thing is that for protonicity, it is not yet in clinical trial, because in Bergen we are still working to develop a prototype of protonicity. But the idea that we already have from the proton therapy or particle therapy, that this is much lower than any conventional photon therapy, because particle they interact differently than photon, and they have this target precise target towards the volume of the target volume. So it will definitely incur a lower dose than photon theoretically, but we will get much better data when this is in clinical practice or in clinical trial. But it's now under the idea of development, and we are still working in the sensor level, so much more to do. Yeah, so I cannot just give you any practical data right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are no further questions, so we move on to our next presentation. It's by Kuratani Yusuke from Japan, and the topic is translation from non-contrast to contrast images by cyclogen in head neck vascular CT imaging.
I'm Kuratani Yosuke from Yokkaichi Municipal Hospital in Japan. I talked about translation from non-contrast to contrast image by cyclogen in head-neck vascular CT imaging. We have no conflicts of interest to declare for this study. Background: stroke, a general term for subarachnoid hemorrhage and cerebral infarction, is the fourth leading causes of death in Japan. Stroke is a disease that often leads to bedridden patients, and its incidence is higher than that of myocardial infarction. So prevention and treatment of stroke are definitely important. Strokes are caused by rupture or head blood vessels. We received a request for 3D CT angiography, which allows doctor to observe the blood vessels of the head in 3 dimensions as materials to make an early diagnosis and determine a treatment plan. The bolus tracking method has become the most popular method for 3D CTA. In the bolus tracking method, the region of interest is set in the carotid artery, and imaging is started by monitoring the arrival of the contrast agent, administered from the vein in the upper extremity to the carotid artery. This is a side view of the imaging process. The contrast medium injected from the patient's arm is continuously monitored in real time as it reaches the neck, and the main scanning is started when the contrast medium has arrived. In order to place our light on the cervical vessels in the pre-contrast CT image, knowledge and experience are required, and the less experienced radiotechnologist, such as a newcomer, is, and the more difficult it is to set the correct position. Therefore, we thought that if we could develop an application that converts a plain CT image of the neck into a contrast-enhanced CT image when it is taken with a smartphone, it would make it easier for anyone to identify the position of the blood vessels and assist the radiotechnologist who scans the CT image. In the imaging workflow shown in the figure, we thought it would be useful if the image could be captured by a smartphone at the stage of plain CT or blood tracking monitor position imaging and convert to a contrast image. The purpose of this study was to develop a technology to virtually convert a plain CT into a contrast-enhanced CT image using cyclogen. Cyclogen is one of the deep learning technologies. In order to support easier imaging of head and neck 3D CTA by predicting the position of blood vessels in the neck. What is cyclogen? Cyclogen is an adversarial generation network, which consists of a generator that creates fake image and a discriminator that detects their authenticity. It is one of the deep learning techniques used for detecting fake bills. Cyclogen is a technology based on GAN that enables bidirectional conversion of 2 types of images that have no correspondence. As an example, the transformation between liver and heart is shown below. We also evaluate the degree of restoration when the image restored through the two networks. In this study, as shown in the figure below, we generated a fake contrast image from a group of non-contrast cities and had the discriminator determine whether the image was fake or real, and generated a fake non-contrast city image from a group of contrast cities and had the discriminator determine whether the image was real. In this way, we improved the accuracy of the generated fake images. For the images, we used data from 10 patients, each who had undergone cervical contrast and plain CT at our hospital. We excluded patients who were far from normal, such as those with tumors or after surgery or with many artifacts. After completing the training, we inputted the images and checked if the image transformation was possible. The processing environment of cyclogram was as follows. The results are shown in the slide. First, I will show an example of the conversion from a plain CT image to a contrast CT image. From left to right, the original input image, and the center is the fake contrast image generated by cyclogram, and on the far right, the true contrast image of this patient. Please look at the middle image. You can see that the neck vessels are well represented. The carotid artery was visualized. Next, I show another group of images. In this group of images, we were able to obtain the same good conversion as before. Overall, the conversion effect in the vertebral artery was slightly poorer compared to the common carotid artery. We think the reason for this is that the vertebral artery is anatomically surrounded by highly absorbent vertebrae, so conversion may not have been successful. I will show two examples of unsuccessful conversion. In this section, we believe that the conversion did not work because of the high amount of artifacts from the denture. In this case, we think that the conversion did not work because of the extremely thin neck. Next, I will show the result of the conversion from contrast CT to plain CT image. The leftmost image is the original, and the middle one is the result of the conversion, a fake plain CT. And the rightmost image is the true plain CT image of this patient. We were able to convert only the contrast vessels to uncontrast state, leaving the thyroid cardiac and the other parts of the body intact. So, I have talked about the conversion from CT image to CT image. Finally, I will show you the conversion results of images taken with a smartphone. The images were taken for monitoring the breath tracking method in a clinical situation. Here is an example of a successful conversion. Blood vessels were visualized as if they were contrasted. Next is an example of poor conversion, where the blood vessels were not drawn very well. Here is discussion. After mutual image conversion using plain CT and contrast CT images of the neck, a good conversion was obtained. Some sources show poor conversion during the conversion to fake images, but we believe that this is due to the specific structures around the vessels and the presence of high absorbers. We believe that most of poor conversions of blood vessels are not a major problem in ROI setting, which is a purpose of this study. In conclusion, we have shown that the cyclogram can be used to interconvert plane and contrast CT images of the cervical region, indicating that this study can be a technique to support 3D CTA. In the future, we would like to improve the accuracy of this image conversion by training with more images. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm wondering, do you think that your method could be applied to other areas of CT and not just cervical CT?
Cervical CT, when we scan cervical 3D CTA and newcomer, for newcomer hard to set correct position and otherwise I thought sorry, correct. Can I answer to your question?
Do you want me to repeat the question? The question was, could this method be applied to other areas of CT, maybe the abdomen or other areas, or is it more, or is it better when it's just applied to cervical CT?
I'm sorry. Please, slowly once more, please.
Do you think this method could be applied to other areas of the body, maybe the abdomen?
Abdomen?
The stomach, for stomach CT?
Stomach artery? This method for other, these methods, you say, can this method use for another parts of body?
Exactly.
Yes, I will try in future. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further questions, then we move on with the next presentation. It's Oshita Yuki, again from Japan, and the topic is preliminary study on the automated lung cancer detection in CT images using masked rCNN.
I'm Yuki Oshita from Fujita Health University. I will talk about the preliminary study on the automated lung cancer detection in CT images using masked CNN. Lung cancer is the most common cause of cancer death in Japan. The number of patients and mortality rate of lung cancer tend to be high around the world. It is important to detect and treat it early. CT examination is indispensable in the diagnosis of lung cancer. The merits of CT examination are it provides three-dimensional data and high-resolution data. With the development of image equipment and technology, the number of images that can be obtained in a one-time examination has greatly increased and can also be obtained in a rapid time. However, the burden on the physician to read the medical images has increased, and there is concern that this will lead to decrease in diagnostic accuracy. Therefore, we focused on artificial intelligence, which has been rapidly applied to the medical field in recent years. Among AI technologies, CNN have excellent performance in image classification and prediction. CNN is used for differentiation and detection in medical research. So, we thought it will be possible to reduce the burden of doctors who read images by using CNN to find areas suspected of lung cancer. The purpose of this study is to develop an automated lung cancer detection method in CT images using CNN. This slide shows the outline of the proposed method. At first, detect lung cancer using muscular CNN for CT images, and lung segmentation is performed by UNET. Candidate region by muscular CNN include many false positives. So, lung masking process is performed. Let me explain in detail of proposed method. The first step is image preprocessing. At first, extract of slices containing lung region from CT data. Next, set the window level to -600 and the window width to 1600. And then the ground truth image was created. For this study, we introduced muscular CNN for lung cancer detection. The backbone extracts the feature map, and the RPN selects the candidate of lung cancer. Finally, segmentation in the found region is performed. In this study, ResNet 50 is used as a backbone network. UNET is a network for estimating where an object is located. We introduced UNET to extract lung region. Selected region by muscular CNN contains many false positives. Therefore, masking process was performed to reduce false positives. The two output images were compared, and the common area between them was selected as a final candidate region. Now I go to experiments. The total number of tumors is 390. The effectiveness of the proposed method was confirmed by using the detection accuracy and false positives per case. The evaluation was conducted the five-fold cross-validation. Now I go to result. This slide shows the example images of lung segmentation result. The left is input image, and the right is the superimposed image of the input and lung mask. Visually, the lung region had been extracted clearly. The lung region were extracted without missing all tumor areas. Therefore, we considered that the extraction of lung region was performed well. This slide shows the example images of correctly detected results. From left to right, input image, superimposed image of input and label, superimposed image of input and output. In case 1, there is a false positive on the left lung, but it was correctly detected on the right lung cancer. In case 2, there are multiple cancers, but both were detected. In case 3, relatively small cancer was also correctly detected. In case 4, the cancer near the base of the lung was also detected. This slide shows the example images of false positives. The left is the input and the right is the enlarged version of the superimposed image of the input and output. Many false positives occur in the bronchi, pulmonary arteries, and vein. With lung masking process, detection accuracy was 88.4% and false positive per case was 35.4. On the other hand, without masking process, detection accuracy was 88.4% and false positive per case was 46.5. This result indicates that using lung masking process could reduce false positives while maintaining detection accuracy. This slide shows images before and after masking process. Before masking process, false positives were presented in the ribs and vertebra in case 3. In case 4, false positives were presented in the arms and liver. Using masking process may have reduced the number of false positives outside the lung. I think it leads to reduce in false positive per case. In summary, we developed the method automated lung cancer detection in CT images using masked CNN. As a result of 5-fold cross-validation, detection accuracy and false positive per case were 88.4% and 35.4% respectively. False positives could be effectively removed by masking process. In future work, we try to extend of this method to 3 dimensions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. So any questions from the audience? So I think no questions, and we can move to next one. So next one from China. The speaker name is Zhenghua Jiang. So the topic is property prediction of lymph node metastasis in cervical cancer with radiomic nomogram based on multi-parameter MRI. Please proceed.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zhenghua Zhang. I worked in the first affiliated hospital of Wenzhou Medical University. Today, my topic is preoperative prediction of lymph node metastasis in cervical cancer with radiomic nomogram based on multi-parameter MRI. Cervical cancer is the fourth malignancy and the second leading cause of death in women worldwide. Lymph node metastasis is one of the most important factors in prognosis and treatment. Presently, the status of lymph node metastasis can be assessed by surgeon and sentinel lymph node biopsy. However, these measures are invasive. Magnetic resonance imaging is a medical imaging method without ionizing radiation and has been regarded as optoimager technique in soft tissue widely. It has been used in diagnosis, studying prognosis, and lymph node metastasis detection of cervical cancer. However, conventional MRI only has moderate sensitivity and specificity for detecting a lymph node metastasis. Many studies have shown that radiomics model has great potential to detect the lymph node metastasis in colorectal, bladder cancer, and so on. Normally, the procedure of radiomics has 4 steps. It includes the segmentation of the image, feature extraction, feature selection, model construction, and evaluation. In our study, we aim to develop and validate a radiomics nomogram that can predict the risk of lymph node metastasis. The model is based on multi-parameter MRI and combined with the clinical risk factor. The method is non-invasive. A total of 250 patients with cervical cancer were enrolled in our study. Patients were randomly divided into training set and testing set. 163 patients were in training set, and 87 patients were in testing set. The first step, the segmentation of image. The region of interest of tumor was segmented by a radiologist with the software of 3D slicer. The second step, feature extraction. There are 1,022 features are extracted from T2WI and DWI. 103 features are extracted from AOCMP. The third step, feature selection. Firstly, many Whitney U tests were used to select features with p less than 0.05 as potentially informative features. Secondly, the lasso method was employed to obtain the key features. Radiomic signature was established by the key features. The fourth step, combining the clinical risk factors, a radiomics nomogram was constructed. The area under the risk curve operating characteristic curve was used to assess the predictive performance of the radiomic signature. Results. Finally, 2, 3, and 7 features were selected from T2WI, DWI, and ADC maps by the lasso method. To get the radiomic signature from the combination of sequences, the multivariate logistic regression analysis was used. Finally, 4 features were remained. There is a significant difference in radiomic signature between lymph node metastasis and non-lymph node metastasis in the training and testing set. We can get the information from this table. The left is the training set, the right is the testing set. We can find P is less than 0.001. So there is a significant difference in radiomic signature between lymph node metastasis and non-lymph node metastasis in the training and testing set. The AUC for single sequence in training set was 0.806, 0.726, and 0.736. The AOC corresponding to the combined above sequences was 0.83. The predictive performance of the combined model was better than any single sequence and was validated in testing set. Age and the radiomic signature were combined to develop a radiomics nomogram based on the multivariate logistic regression. We can find the C-index is 0.839 and 0.828 in training set and testing set, respectively. And encouragingly, radiomics nomogram also showed good calibration and discrimination. We can find the calibration curve of the radiomics nomogram. So we can get the conclusion. Radiomics nomogram established by multi-parameter MRI can be used as an adjunctive method for predicting lymph node metastasis in cervical cancer. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the presentation, but I think she is not present here, so we can move on to our last presentation, again by Katsumi Tsukioka from Japan, Image Quality Evaluation On-Center and Off-Center Field of View of CT, Spatial Resolution and Motion Artifacts.
Hello, my name is Tsujioka and Fujita Health University in Japan. My presentation title is Image Quality Evaluation on Center and Off-Center FOV of CT. Spatial Resolution and Motion Artifact. Background. There are many reports on image quality evaluation in CT. However, they have been examined at the on-center of FOV, and there are no reports on off-center of FOV. We examined spatial resolution and motion artifacts as an off-center image quality evaluation of FOV. Propose a wire phantom is suitable for evaluating the spatial resolution off-center of FOV. We use it to measure the spatial resolution on-center and off-center of FOV. The position of moving object and X-ray tube become the important problem by the evaluation of the motion artifact in the CT. We developed a new moving phantom to solve this problem, and we compare the motion artifact in the on-center and the off-center of FOV by using this phantom. Materials: CT scanner, and we use the Alexion 16 slice, Canon Medical Systems, and phantom. We use the handmade moving phantom, and the electric actuator for phantom movement. We use the Misumi Industrial Supplies Commerce in Japan, and ImageJ and ZioCube. ZioCube is Ziosoft Incorporation in Japan. Examination 1. Measurement of MTF. We use the wire phantom, the 0.1 mm diameter metal wire. Scan condition is this slide. We change the image position on center and 100 mm off center. Result, measurement of MTF, non-helical scan and helical scan. The spatial resolution of the center is better than off-center. Comparing the center and off-center of FOV, the center had a better spatial resolution than off-center. This was thought to be due to geometric extent of data collection in CT. Examination 2. Measurement of motion artifact. One rod made of acrylic used the phantom which exercise for the evaluation of the motion artifact. The acrylic bar is movement. Scan condition. We change the image position and center, and off-center change the 30 mm to 120 mm. Problem of the scan phase. The motion artifact changed by the scan phase. Therefore, it is necessary for the motion artifact by the off-center to synchronize scan phase with on-center. Our idea to synchronize the scan phase. We can make scan phase agree by moving acrylic rods at the same times in on-center and off-center. Result. This is an image of non-helical scan. Non-helical scan. Non-helical scan. Occurrence of artifact changed depending on the position of X-ray tube. This is a result of helical scan. Helical scan and helical scan. Occurrence of artifact changed depending on the position of the X-ray tube. Evaluate the motion artifact. We evaluated the motion artifact using each CT level. Non-helical scan and helical scan, and center to off-center. This is a result, measurement of motion artifact. The result is the average of 10 repeated experiments. The center image is a small motion artifact than off-center. This is a helical scan result. Center of the FOV is a small motion artifact than off-center. The shapes of the motion artifact were changed by the position of the X-ray tube position. However, according to the moving phantom which we developed, the motion artifact of the on-center and off-center of FOV were possible to evaluate in same X-ray tube position. The artifact of the off-center become bigger than the on-center of FOV. Conclusion. We evaluated the spatial resolution and motion artifact of center of FOV. As a result of the experiment, it was found that the spatial resolution is reduced and motion artifact occurred in the off-center of FOV. From the results of this experiment, it was found that it is important to place the subject in the on-center of the FOV when performing a CT examination. Recent CT has a function of moving the patient table sideways for cardiac CT. This mechanism allows us to always scan patient heart at the center of the FOV. Canon Medical Systems' new CT machine have this mechanism, sideways moving. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Masum. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. This time we have a question from the audience. Is there any reason you choose to use the feature extraction method rather than the current top used deep learning method? By Fatih Nur Yazid.
Hello. The session is over.
We still have a question to answer, but I'm not sure if we get an answer.
Please take one question because already we have a delay in 30 minutes. We will start our next session. Thank you.
So if there's no answer, then I would like to thank everyone for the attention. I think we had several really great presentations, very interesting, and I hope that the conference will continue just as interesting as it was in this session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Hassan Karita. I am the Secretary General of MIFOMB. I'm chairing this session. I was supposed to be as a co-chair. I hope my voice is okay.
Welcome to the 21st Asia Oceania Congress of Medical Physics, Parallel Mini Symposium 1B. This today's topic is biomedical physics challenges in the Middle East region, and this is online hall B. We have our host, we have our chair and co-chair for the session. Our chair is Dr. Huda Al-Naimi, President MEF-OMP. Dr. Huda is Assistant Professor of Biomedical Biophysics Research in Radiology at Weill Cornell Medicine, Qatar. She is President of Middle East Federation of Organizations of Medical Physics. She represents Qatar in several international meetings and conferences, and work closely with global organizations such as International Atomic Energy Agency. She is member of Awards and Honors and Acceleration Committee of the International Organization for Medical Physics. In 2017, she was awarded IOCMP-2021 Award. Dr. Al-Naimi was also awarded the Healthcare Gold Medal by the Institute of Physics and Engineering in Medicine on 23rd September 2019. In December 2017, she was awarded the State Encouragement Award for Medical Science category, Doha, Qatar University, Qatar. And our today's co-chair is Muhammad Hassan Kharita. He is Assistant Executive Director for OHS Medical Physics Section, Hamad Medical Corporation, Doha, Qatar. He is also Secretary General of MEF OMP. Dr. Muhammad Hassan Kharita is the Assistant Health and Safety Department, Medical Physics, Hamad Medical Corporation, overseeing all medical physics aspects in diagnostic radiology and nuclear medicine, in addition to radiation safety issues at all I5 HMC hospitals. Dr. Kharita was a radiation safety consultant in the International Atomic Energy from 2014 to 15. He obtained a PhD degree in radiation dosimetry in 1996 and MSc degree in applied radiation physics in 1992 at the University of Birmingham, UK. She had vast experience with the IAEA as an expert to more than 35 missions. He is Secretary General of the Middle Eastern Federation for Medical Physics 2018 to 2022 and the Vice President of the Qatar Medical Physics Society from 2018 to 2022. Now I would like to hand over to our chair and co-chair to continue the session.
Hello, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful as well to the AOCMP-21 for inviting us to this mini symposium. And I'm representing myself as a co-chair and Dr. Huda, who is the chair of this meeting. She's unfortunately ill and was not able to attend this virtual meeting. I can see one of the attendees is Dr. Rabia. I don't know if Mr. Abdullah, can you put him as a panelist, because he's got the second presentation.
We are trying to. Sorry for interrupt. We are trying to a panelist, but he will not accept.
Oh, he's not accepting. Maybe I can write to him in a minute, because in his talk. So our mini symposium is talking about the medical physics in the Middle East region. And we have 3 talks. The first talk is about medical physics in the status of medical physics in the Middle East region as far as 2021. The second talk is about the impact of COVID-19 on the medical physics work and challenges in Qatar. And the third talk is summarizing the MIFOM 2021 virtual conference and talking about expanding knowledge and meeting challenges. The first talk will be by Dr. Huda Nuaimi, who is the president, and she was already presented as a chairman. The second talk is by Dr. Rabi Hamoud, who is the treasurer, and he's a chief medical physicist in radiotherapy department in radiotherapy department in Hamad Medical Corporation. And so Rabia will do the second talk. And I think he just sent me a message that he's driving, and I think probably he's not able to connect as a panelist. So anyway, if we need, we can connect with him. And the third talk with Dr. Mushari Noaimi. He's from Kuwait. He's as well the vice president of MIFOM. So I would like to start by the first presentation by Dr. Huda Noaimi, and I'll ask Mr. Jubairul Islam to start the recording of the first presentation. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Huda Naimi, and I'm president of MIFOB, Middle East Federation of Medical Physics. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Have a nice day. I'm with you today as a speaker from MIFOB, and I'm glad to announce that we are in MIFOB are endorsing this beautiful and well-organized conference for AOCMP. It's our pleasure to be with you today, and I'm going to talk today about the current status of medical physics in Middle East, which is a result we collect from our colleague. The first slide I want to share with you today is about our region and our countries in the region. As you can see, this is the map of the region of Middle East. And if I'm talking about our countries alphabetic wise, it's Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Yemen, UAE, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Palestine. So total of 12 countries for the region. And from here, we're going to talk about the status of medical physicists in these countries. 12 countries and 12 local societies or national societies in the region. So each one of our countries, they establish their own national society or association for medical physics in different time. Nowadays, we have a 12 society, but from this slide, which is a busy slide, I know, but we can go through it quickly. It's Bahrain, one of the countries that they came with a society very early time, before the others, 2008. You can see that even Saudi Arabia, they came with their society 2006, and United Arab Emirates also 2005, while Yemen, they established their society in 2013. And you can see that we are in Qatar. I'm working in Qatar. I'm Qatari and I'm working in Qatar. And we established the Qatar Medical Physics Society in 2009. Now, in this slide or busy slide, again, we have the population in millions in each country, an approximate number of medical physicists in each, male and female, and approximate number of medical physicists per million for each country. You can see that the total number of medical physicists, almost 1,100, 50-50 male and females. And in this column, which is very important, it's about the medical physicists if they are recognized in their country as a health professional. I didn't get a solid answer from some countries like Bahrain, Yemen, and Syria, but I assume that it is yes. So if I exclude these countries, we can see that 75% from our countries are recognizing the medical physicist as a professional, health professional. Another busy slide I will share with you, this time about the approximate number of RT, nuclear medicine, CT equipment in each country. We have to look for the equipments that we have in the area when we have to talk about the medical physicist career or science. Actually, this number have taken from one reference only, published by Dr. Hassan Kharita and myself in Medical Physics International Journal just a few months ago. And here we try to collect the numbers of the equipments in each country of our region. Unfortunately, we didn't get a solid numbers or a solid answers from some areas like Bahrain and United Arab Emirates because of miscommunication, but we are working to get this and we will update this slide hopefully soon. From here, you can see that the number of the unit in total in the region for the RT technology is 122, and then the number of units of CT is 1,850 almost, and it's here the percentage per million. For nuclear medicine, as example, some countries have a really high number, like Kuwait, they have 49 equipment in nuclear medicine, and of course they have the highest number for the unit per million, it's 11.4. By total, the number of nuclear medicine equipment is 266, and the per million for each, the whole area or the whole region is 2.8. Here, I would like to highlight the programs of education or education program in medical physics in the area or in the region. I will show some universities that we have in our region which are providing programs in medical physics, so student can graduate as a medical physicist and by BS or diploma. As you can see in this slide, Iraq as example have 6 universities. Some of them is private, some is governmental. They are providing a program of medical physics, BS degree, and the number of graduated students around 40 to 50. Jordan also, they have Yarmouk University. It's 4 years BS degree, and they graduated 50 to 50 male and female. Saudi Arabia, they have 2 universities, one in Jeddah, one in Mecca, and one in Jeddah. Both of them, they are providing a program BS in medical physics, and you can see that in the Al-Qura University, they have this program since 1982, means like 40 years they are providing this program, and we have a lot of medical physicists who graduated from this university. Syria, they have Damascus University, a 1-year diploma after BS, and Yemen, they have IPP University. It's 4 years bachelor degree. It's started 2015. If we look to the programs of master degrees, MSc programs in the region, also we have a number of programs and as a master degree, which is really amazing that we have 6 universities also in Iraq, and all of them, they have 2 years master degree program. And if we look to the number of graduated people from varies from 15 to 50 in Baghdad University. And as we said, it's all of them is 2 years duration time. In Jordan also, we have 2 universities providing master degree program for medical physicists. Lebanon, they have also 2. Lebanon University and Beirut Arab University. Al-Qura also, they have the same program, and Saudi Arabia, Syria, they have a program. All of them, they have programs for master degree in medical physics, and the graduated people vary from a few to a number of 50, as you can see. And now we have a good idea about the academic program about universities in the area, which are providing academic program in BSc, master degree, and PhD degree as well in the region. We have to look for the research program that we have, and it's amazing and good news for us and everybody actually that we have a research program in different countries, even those countries who doesn't have universities with education program, academic education program for medical physics. We can see that they have a research program. So we can review some of them here in this slide and the next slide. Iraq, they have 2 universities, Mansouriya and Salmaniya, and in different subject as well. Jordan also, they have like 3 or 4 universities, and their research going around radiation protection, dosimetry, medical imaging, radiotherapy, etc. Kuwait, the cancer center as well, they have a research about dosimetry, PET, and nuclear therapy. In Oman, Sultan Qaboos University, and also they have program and assessment radiation dose, occupational radiation dose, CT dose optimization, and other subjects. To continue talking about the medical physics research programs in the regions and different countries, I'm showing more 4 countries like Qatar, Syria, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. And if we talk about Qatar, I can talk a lot, of course, because this is my country. I'm working in Hamad Medical Corporation, and we have different research in dosimetry, radiotherapy, radiation protection, diagnostic, and nuclear medicine, quality control as well. Also in Qatar, we have a joint project between Texas and NCCR, which is National Center for Cancer Care and Research. And this research about the radiation therapy. In Syria, we have 2 universities and providing or having a research program also in dosimetry, radiotherapy, radiation protection, diagnostic nuclear medicine. In United Arab Emirates, I have something here about Dubai Health Authority, and they have a program of research for patient radiation safety. And in Yemen as well, they have a program in applied physics, specifically in medical field and IBP University. Here we're going to highlight a clinical training for medical physicists in the region. And also we have some good programs for clinical training for the graduated medical physicists, the junior, in Jordan, Lebanon, Oman, and Palestine, and we go for other countries as well. We can see that in Jordan we have one university, or King Hussein Cancer Center. They have a clinical training program for 3 to 6 months. The other universities in Lebanon actually also from 4 to 6 months in different hospitals in Lebanon. In Oman, we have 3 centers. They have a programs differ from a few weeks, 2 weeks, as apart from 5th year in a bachelor degree in Sultan Medical Physics. Other university have on-job training. It's for the university to decide. And Oman, we have the Real Hospital also. They have a 1-year diagnostic medical physics and local clinical training. Palestine, they have on-job training for 3 weeks only. Saudi Arabia, especially in King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center, they have a very well organized residency program in radiotherapy, and I remember that this program has organized in cooperation with IAEA. So the program is a 3 years residency program and clinical training in radiotherapy field. Also in Saudi Arabia, we have a clinical training in medical physicists, but it's vary from 3 months to 1 year in other universities like King Fahad Specialist, Prince Sultan Military Medical Center, and King Abdulaziz University. If we go to Syria, we have one hospital, his Al Baryuni Hospital. They have a residency program or clinical training program for 4 years. In United Arab Emirates, it's on-job training within the hospital, and the same thing for Yemen. The program is only for 1 month. We can summarize from the last slides that I showed that we have academic programs, 11 BSc and 14 master academic degree. And we have clinical, practical, high demand on medical physics. Most of our medical physicists with BScs, and most of them are not certified. So what we are going to do? I'm not so proud to say that we don't have a national regulation or qualification in the region, and we don't have a national board for certification for medical physicists. This is none. So what we are going to do? This question has taken a long time from us to think about it, what to do in our region for medical physicists. And what we have done, that we communicate with IMPCP, which is International Medical Physics Certification Board, to certify our people in the region. And I'm going to highlight that in the next slide. Starting 2019, we have started this positive collaboration with IMPCP, and we invite them to the area to make the examination for our people. As you know, the certification or board, American board, need a residency in United States of America, and this is very difficult for our people here. So we invited the IMPCP to the region. And the first visit was early in 2019, where it was in Saudi Arabia. The examination take part 1 and 2. It was in February, and then there is another exam in April 2019 in Jordan, and it was also for part 1 and 2. Then in Qatar, we invite the board for examination in Qatar. All this photos or picture you can see, it's during the examination in Qatar. And for the first time in region, the examination take part 1, 2, and 3. And the number who graduate is really make you happy to give the chance for the medical physicists in the area to have the certification. In Saudi Arabia, again, in 2020, in February, again, they have the examination, this time for part 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, you know what happened after that. We have the crisis of COVID-19 and everything frozen. And the organizers for the certification board, they make an examination for all parts in 2020 and 21, but I'm not sure how many one from our physicists in the region go for that. I will go quickly with some activities that we covered before COVID-19 and then during COVID-19. And in this slide, I'm showing one of the workshops that we organize in Muscat, Oman, one of the greatest events that we organize. All the AOCMP was there, and the number of attendance, like almost close to 100 students from university. And we are really proud to have this event or this activity just before the COVID-19 crisis. Also in MIFOB, we provide accreditation and quality control service for medical centers, and we provide a certification for accreditation. We have done that for Hamad Medical Corporation, and because I'm a member of this organization, I can say that it helped us a lot for accreditation for GCI. This is one of the activities that MIFOB really managed to came with in the last few years. ICTB or Abd Salam Center, as we call them now, or they call themselves now because they changed the title of them, the title of the center. This is one of the centers that, of course, you know, it's under IAEA, and it's providing a lot of programs for medical physicists. We are sponsoring, in MIFOB, we are sponsoring the master degree or the master program for medical physics with them. And we sponsor 3 participants from ICTRB in 2019. That's before the COVID, but we are going on, and you can see in this slide that the logo of MIFOB coming in the newsletter of ICTB or Abd Salam Center. In Qatar, I joined IOMP, MIFOB, Qatar Society for Medical Physics, and Weill Cornell Medical School. This is a workshop for 2 days for a medical school, and it was very successful activities with the students. International Conference for Radiation and Medicine 2020. This is an annual conference, I think you know that, and in 2020 MIFOB was a partner, and we had a booth, and we presented there with a colleague from the AOCMP, and it was very good opportunity to introduce ourselves for our colleague in Saudi Arabia. Also, Kuwait Society for Medical Physics, they organized a conference in a recent advanced radiation medicine, and it was in January 2020, and it was one of really a successful event in the MIFOB. Almost January or March 2020, you know that most of the countries, or I can say all of the countries, have a lockdown, and we stay homes, most of us, and nothing can be done because the crisis of COVID-19. And of course, we do our job as a physicist in the hospital, but we don't gather. However, in October 2020, we organized our first virtual meeting for the AOCMP. In this picture, you can see the AOCMP, myself, Dr. Abdullah Al-Haj, last president, Dr. Kharita, the general secretary, Dr. Meshari, he is the vice president by now, Dr. Rifat Al-Mazroui, Education, Chair of Education and Training Committee, Dr. Afkar, Chair of Award Committee, Mr. Nabil Al-Aqilani, Award Website and Newsletter Committee, Dr. Hanan Al-Dosari from Kuwait, she is the Women Committee Chair. Dr. Zaina from Lebanon, she is the chair of Relation Committee, International Relation, and Dr. Anas from Jordan, and he is the chair of Publication Committee. And of course, Dr. Rabi' Hamouda, he is the treasurer of the MIFOB EXCOM. And this is our first meeting during the COVID-19, and we have a decision for a lot of things I'm going to show you on the next slide. Despite the COVID-19, we managed to celebrate our IDMP, the International Day for Medical Physics, in 2020. And if you remember, the theme is recognizing recognize the medical physicist as a health professional, and we work under this theme in the region. To encourage our medical physicists who work hardly during the COVID-19, and they even expose themselves to the infection of COVID-19. To recognize them, we ask all the national societies to nominate one of the best medical physicists, and they have been awarded from the MIFOB as best medical physicist in his country from the MIFOB as a MIFOB award. I will take this opportunity to ask everybody and to encourage everybody to visit our website www.mifob.org, and you can see all our news, activities, and upcoming activities here in our website. From the website, you can see the report of our first virtual MIFOB conference, which organized in April this year, 2020. The conference was organized with IAEA and endorsed by IOMP, AFOB, MIFOB, and FAMBO. And it was really attract a lot of people, as we can see in the next slide. 3,000 people attracted for registration in our conference, and it was from 80 different countries around the world. Almost 2,000 really attended the conference, and this number really, it was a surprise for us and encouraging us to came with the next or the second virtual MIFOB, inshallah, next year. Every national society asked to provide us for their contribution during the COVID, and their contribution article has been published in the website. Those articles became as a chapter in a book, and the book already published a few months ago, and it's the chapter title is a contribution of medical physics during the COVID-19 epidemic in Middle East. Newly, we came with a new award for the physicists in the area, which is award for the young scientist. And the award for this year goes for Dr. Saad Ibrahim Ad-Dilijan from Saudi Arabia. Congratulations for him. This is to go quickly through medical physicists who awarded from IOMP IDMP award from 2015 until this year. And this year, Dr. Mishari Al-Naimi, Vice Chair of MIFOB, he's been awarded for IDMP. Congratulations, Dr. Mishari. Like every year, we celebrate IDMP on 7th of November. With IAEA, and the theme this year, as you know, it was contribution or communicate the role of medical physicists and for public. So we celebrate this, and we congratulate Dr. Mishari for his award. We had a cake with a theme of medical physics, and it really was a nice occasion to gather after this time. The winner of IOMP IDMP been announced in the celebration. Also, it was the time to announce the award of IOMP Honorary Membership, which is gone for Dr. Noor Al-Hammadi from Qatar. She is a radiation oncologist, and her efforts with medical physics is really recognized, and we would like to congratulate her as well. This is my references, and again, I'm encouraging everybody to visit our website, www.mefob.com. Thank you again. I'm so happy to be with you today.
Thank you very much for the presentation of Dr. Huda. If there's any question, maybe we can take. Otherwise, we can move to, if there's no questions, we can move to the second presentation by Dr. Rabia Hamoud, and it talks about the impact of COVID-19 on medical physics in Qatar. Thank you very much. Mr. Jubair Islam.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank the organizing committee for the invitation. So my talk today is about the impact of COVID-19 on the medical physics community in Qatar. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of the human life worldwide and definitely presents a major challenge to the public health sector. The economic and the social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. The medical physics profession is not an exception. So here I'm going to discuss with you how the COVID-19 pandemic affected our medical physics profession in Qatar. So here's the outline of my talk. I will briefly give the overview of Hamad Medical Corporation, which is the only public health sector within the state of Qatar. Then I will focus on the medical physics profession here. In a later part of the talk, I will focus on how the pandemic situation impacted the medical physics profession in Qatar from the different sections within medical physics. Before I start, let me give you some information about Qatar. Well, Qatar is a peninsular Arab country with its sole land border is with Saudi Arabia from the north side. In terms of income, Qatar has the third highest GDP per capita in the world. It has a high income economy country backed by the world's third largest natural gas and oil reserve. Qatar, the capital of Qatar is Doha. It's known the city for its skyscrapers and other ultra-modern architecture inspired by the Asian Islamic design. With regards to population, the approximate population of Qatar currently is 2.88 million, with an average growth of 1.7 to 1.8% annually. 90% of the population are expats coming from around 100 countries and covering multinationalities who are living and working here in the state. What about Hamad Medical Corporation? Well, Hamad Medical Corporation was established by an Emery decree in 1979. And it's Qatar's premier non-for-profit healthcare provider in the state. Located within the state of Qatar, Hamad Medical Corporation manages 10 hospitals currently and operates both the National Ambulance Service and Home Healthcare Service. The National Cancer Center for Research is the only cancer center within the whole state of Qatar. It's an 86-bed clinical and research facility, opened in 2004, offers advanced diagnostic and therapeutic treatments for our cancer patients. It has to be stated that HMC is the only healthcare organization outside of the United States to receive simultaneous JCI reaccreditation for all its hospitals. What about some of the medical equipments which are available at HMC? So I will focus on just cancer related. So for example, radiation oncology, currently we have 3 linear accelerators and we're installing the 4th one very soon by the end of the year. We have the latest CyberKnife system from Accuray, and we have a very active brachytherapy program. When it comes to nuclear medicine, we have a range of gamma cameras, SPECT CT, PET CT. We just installed the PEM system, and we have our own dedicated cyclotron within HMC to produce radio tracers for PET and others. With regards to diagnostic radiology, we have around 30 MRI scanners within HMC, in addition to big number of CT scanners, mammography, standard radiology, and other diagnostic radiology equipments. If we look at the number of, for example, of the linear accelerators as compared to the population, we have around 1.9 unit per million population. What about some of the some numbers with regards to the procedures? Well, we performed in 2020 around 60,000 MRI scans. When it comes to PET, 3,000 PET scans. Mostly we're doing oncology, FDG scans, but also we introduced other radio tracers for urology and cardiac, sodium fluoride and PSMA PET, for example. In radiation oncology, we treated around 830 patients last year with advanced techniques. So if we look at the portfolio of the radiotherapy equipments that we have in our cancer center at the National Cancer Center at Hamad Medical Corporation, when we have a range of equipments and systems from simulation, treatment planning, and delivery systems. I will highlight a few. We got our dedicated MRI SIM, and also we have a PET-CT SIM. So we have got the laser system within the PET-CT bunker that for any patients who require radiotherapy and require at the same time PET-CT, we're acquiring a PET-CT SIM for them. I have to highlight that we installed the MRI SIM, dedicated MRI SIM in our department in 2011. So we were the first GE system worldwide to be installed here in Qatar. We worked a lot with the GE to optimize that system for radiotherapy when it comes from quality assurance, geometric distortion assessment, coil placement, immobilization devices used, and others. A treatment planning system, we're currently using Eclipse. This is the gold standard. We just introduced the race station as a new technology that was going to be used for the CyberKnife systems and also for the variant units. When it comes to delivery system, we have the C-arm linear accelerators. We got the brachytherapy system, HDR brachytherapy. We have service-guided radiotherapy from Align RT. And we will be installing the adaptive solution from Varian Ethos very soon, early next year. What about the history of medical physics in Qatar? Well, Qatar Medical Physics Society was founded in 2009 by a small group of physicists in Hamad Medical Corporation. So there were a small group of physicists at that time, led by Dr. Huda Nuaimi, that they initiated that group at that time. The mission of the Qatar Medical Physics Society, like any other missions within the medical physics profession, is to advance the medical physics practice in Qatar and to promote and support the medical physics profession and provide opportunities for education and professional development while promoting excellence in the profession to achieve the high standard of patient care. A lot of people within the corporation, they know nothing about medical physics. Frankly, the team at that time worked hard to introduce the profession and to assure that for example, in mainly I would say in the diagnostic field, in order to assure that the necessity and the importance of having such a medical physicist within this division. So the Qatar Medical Physics Society is one of the founding members of the Middle East Federation of Organization of Medical Physics, MIFOM. They're very active society within MIFOM. Currently, the president of the Qatar Medical Physics Society is also the president of the MIFOM, Dr. Huda Nuaimi, until the next election in 2022. We should state that also Qatar Medical Physics Society is also a member of the International Organization of Medical Physics, the AOCMP. As you can see from the table, the number of medical physicists grew from 9 in 2009 to 38 in 2021. So there was a big change in the number of physicists since 2009 till now, and this is due to the increase of population for sure, increase of equipments within the corporation, the complexity of procedures, especially, for example, if we talk about radiation oncology and nuclear medicine, and also the recognition of our profession within the corporation itself. I will move to the impact of COVID in the different sections within the medical physics, and I will start with radiotherapy. So since the pandemic and as an immediate response to the pandemic, a dedicated task group in radiation oncology was created with representatives from every team in the departments. So we met with representatives from doctors, physicists, therapists, and nurses, and worked closely together with the infection control team at Hamad to monitor the crisis and identify active issues and plan strategies as the pandemic evolves. So the task group developed a clinical response plan. So we came up with the clinical response plan, a big document that we developed, which contains general measures introduced at the beginning of the outbreak to protect, the main is to protect the patient and the staff. Moreover, it seeks to stratify the appropriate adjustment of the clinical service depending on the staffing level. As the pandemic evolves, this document was reviewed and adjusted accordingly. So while developing the clinical response plan, the following principles were observed. So the first thing was very important for us is to protect the staff and the patients from the COVID, from the pandemic, by applying risk mitigation strategies. Where possible, the treatments that provide a chance of long-term cancer control or cure will be prioritized. They should be prioritized, and they should start treatment. Treatments aimed at palliation alone or minimal extension of life may have to be temporarily deferred or suspended during the peak of the COVID-19 outbreak. Patients who have commenced a course of radiation therapy should be prioritized and supported in completing their treatments. So this is how we prioritize our patient pool and act accordingly within our response plan. So what about staffing adjustments? Well, Qatar government initiated a work from home policy by the curb, to the peak of during the COVID-19 outbreak. So Qatar government decided to reduce the number of staff working from office to 20%, and the rest had to work from home using online remote access during the peak situation to control the spread. What happened in radiation oncology? Well, we decided that approximately 50% of our staff will be working on site and the remaining will be working from home. We're able to access our oncology information system online, our treatment planning system. So a lot of work been able to be done from home, and we don't need, frankly, physically staff there. Mainly, I would say the planners, the physicists, and the physician. So they were able, some of them, to work from home without interruptions. So most of the work was performed from home, and only urgent activities that required physical presence were performed in the hospital. So what happened with us, that in addition to the work from home option, the staff schedule were adjusted. So all medical and non-medical staff were divided in two groups. So we created two teams in radiation oncology. Team 1 and Team 2, these were working in 2 shifts daily. These shifts were fixed, meaning that either in the morning or in the afternoon, without any swapping or contact between the two teams. This is to minimize any potential spread of the infection between them, also with the patients, as well as with any other team across our department or within the hospital itself too. So in addition to the staff schedule adjustment, some changes in the workflow, in the clinical workflow, was introduced. So all the RT patients consultation was done remotely, either by phone or Zoom or team meeting. Our positive COVID-19 patients treatments were done at the end of the day. So no COVID positive patient was treated during the day, neither in shift 1 nor in shift 2. So these were done at the end of the day by a dedicated team. So we created a dedicated team for this, neither from team 1 nor from team 2. This is a team of therapists, physicists, and a doctor. So 2 therapists, 1 physicist, and 1 doctor were a COVID-19 team. And they were trained on using appropriate personal protective equipments, PPEs. They had over precautions other than team 1 and team 2 to assure, because they are treating COVID positive patients. Also, there is a specific pathway for the patients to come into the facility and leaving the facility. So to avoid the cross-contamination, these dedicated staff team were only responsible for the COVID-19 positive patient treatments, and they're not coming during the normal patients' treatments. What about the routine work? Well, there was no during the outbreak of the pandemic. Similar to other parts of the world, our medical physics for radiotherapy were also continuously active in performing the routine works, such as the machine QA, patient-specific QA, and treatment planning. So there was no compromise. And of course, they were done with appropriate safety precautions. With regards to the research, we did not stop. Actually, we were more active during this period on our research activities. So we revisit our previous QC reports. We performed several activities related to research and publications. All the projects were finalized and published, about 8 papers in peer-reviewed international journals during that period. Our medical physicists also participated in virtual meetings and conferences. Writing work of a book titled The Quality Control Procedure for Diagnostic X-ray Equipment was completed, and it will be published soon actually. Also, we contribute a chapter in a recently published book on medical physics during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we were active during that period. Finally, a research proposal from the Radiation Oncology Department was written on the use of low-dose radiation therapy, LDRT, in the treatment of a critically ill COVID-19 patients, was also submitted for IRB. When it comes to teaching, we did not stop actually. We have a very active teaching activities within the Department of Radiation Oncology. So we continue to provide internal education presentations, chart rounds, and multidisciplinary team activities. These were all conducted, however, instead of being physically, they were conducted virtually, like any other centers across the globe, virtually through Microsoft Teams. What about the other sections within the medical physics, how COVID impacted them? Well, if we talk about the radiation safety section within the medical physics, what happened that though the normal monitoring periods for the TLD is 2 months, due to the pandemic, they decided to extend the use of the same TLD badges for 4 months to avoid any possible spread of the virus between the staff from a potentially contaminated, for example, TLD badge. So the replacement and the reading of the TLD badges were made with extreme caution to ensure that any potentially contaminated badges would not be a medium of spread of the virus. So while collecting and delivering the TLDs, the medical physics took all the necessary precautions using masks, gloves, and alcohols to avoid potential contamination at both ends. So care was taken to avoid contamination during opening of the TLD badge and reading the TLD cards. So all used holders were stored for at least a week before reusing them, and the workers were supplied with the new holders. What about the radiation license and the training of staff? Well, it was agreed with the Ministry of Environment, which is the national regulator within the states, to extend the validity of the radiation worker license, which were expired or due for renewal, automatically for an additional 6 months, to enable the radiation staff to continue practicing as usual without renewals, because the standard that they will be going through a training class in order to renew their license. So later in August of 2020, as the pandemic situation began to subside and stabilize, the government started to ease gathering restrictions, so the radiation protection training courses were resumed. So these courses were conducted following the current government guidelines on educational gatherings. This means the organized entry by checking the temperature, provision of hand sanitizer, definitely wearing masks, in addition to the physical distancing. What happened with diagnostic radiology? Well, during the pandemic, the medical physics performed all the necessary QC tests to all X-ray units, the CT, fluoroscopy, and the general X-ray units. The physicists were also involved in the management of COVID-19 patients. How? For example, our medical physicists from diagnostic radiology had to do the acceptance, the QC test for the X-ray systems that were used in the COVID facility within HMC and other facilities within the state of Qatar. So medical physics team prepared new QC also manual and related electronic QC forms, which describes the basic methodology for performing all QC tests. This was done during the period. And routine safety assessment and workplace monitoring of existing facilities were postponed, however, with the except of the new facilities, such that those were open during the COVID-19 pandemic. What happened with last but not least, the nuclear medicine section? So the medical physicists maintain all the normal services across all the nuclear medicine department in HMC. They drafted a new QC manual based on NEMA and IEA in order to set local quality control testing norms and references. The radioactive waste management program in the nuclear medicine department and the PET-CT facility was continuously performed as planned, but with extra care to protect the staff collecting and storing the waste packages. This is mainly with regards to the physics section.
So in summary, the medical physics from Qatar joined hands with the rest of the world to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of the COVID on the Medical Physics Society resulted in adjustment to staff shifts. As I stated, we have two teams, morning and evening. In addition to the two shifts, the work from home was also initiated by the Qatar government to curb the peak of the COVID-19 situation. Further, some administrative changes were also initiated to cope with the pandemic situation. TLDs and radiation license validity were extended to enable the radiation staff to continue practicing as usual without renewal. Finally, and this is very important, there was no compromise to patient care during the pandemic. And this is all thanks to the hard work of the whole medical staff, specifically the medical physics from Qatar and definitely other part of the world. And last few words to say that, as you know, Qatar will be hosting the World Cup next year in 2022. I hope to see you all and thank you for listening to the talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rabia and Dr. Rabia. Very interesting presentation. Dr. Rabia is available with us on the panelist. So if there is any burning questions or any clarification, please go ahead. And if there is no question, I would like to move to the next presentation, and it talks about MIFOM 2021 Virtual Medical Physics Conference, and we'll talk about spreading knowledge and meeting challenges. And this talk will be presented by Dr. Mishari and Dr. Mishari Naimi, who's the Vice President of MIFOM and the President of Kuwait Medical Physics Society, and was the President of this conference in April 2021. Dr. Mishari, please, you have the floor.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone, I am Mishari Naimi, Vice President of MIFOM and Head of Radiation Physics Department at Kuwait Cancer Control Center. I would like to give you an overview of MIFOM virtual conference that took place last April. We believe that this conference was very successful and a great online event that brought together medical physicists from the region and across the globe. So let me give you some highlights and lessons learned from this online event. Virtual conferences in light of COVID-19 pandemic raise challenges for organizers, attendees, and speakers. Nevertheless, they offer many advantages and have revolutionized the way professionals interact and how conferences of the future might look, even after the pandemic. So we will share some examples of MIFOM first virtual conference experience, results, and lessons learned from this event. There are many benefits of hosting a virtual conference. The main benefits are increasing the attendee count, saving a lot of time, expands global reach, reduces expenses significantly, and also in a virtual conference you can get a specific and real-time feedback with the participant, like having online surveys and quizzes and polls to measure the understanding of the participant. Medical physics profession has always been constantly moving along with the new techniques and methods to support healthcare providers. So a key objective of MIFOM is to promote the trends of medical physics communications by sharing ideas, updating knowledge, and enhancing professional development. MIFOM, in cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, organized a virtual medical physics conference that took place between 5th and 7th of April 2021. The conference enabled attendees to have interactive free access to an in-depth view of future directions, latest advancement and lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic, delivered by internationally renowned leading expert in the field. The conference was endorsed by leading international medical physics organizations like the IOMP, the AFOMP, EFOMP, and FAMPO, and also was accredited with continuous medical education credit with 15 credits from the IOMP CPD program and 16 CAMP points. As COVID-19 continues to pose a major global health threat, MIFOMP developed a virtual platform that provides all the needed information about the conference and its committee program, the speakers of the conference, and all other information. The virtual platform used was Zoom webinar, which was used to host this event and manage all meetings, recording of lectures, managing the questions, and so on. You can have a look and visit the conference website, MIFOM-conference. All the presentation and the lectures were recorded and available for viewing. 20 international leading experts in the field participated in this conference, and also 6 local speakers from Middle East region participated. The conference was divided into 3 daily sessions: the general session, and the medical imaging session, and then the therapy session. As you can see, this is the first day time schedule, and you can see the speakers are very renowned speakers, and also national societies participated by chairing the sessions. As you can see here, in the first day, the Emirates Medical Physics Society, Palestinian Medical Physics Society, the Omani Medical Physics Society. So all national societies participated in the conference, and every day there was a book review session for medical physics, newly published book, like this one, the Leadership and Challenges in Medical Physics book, presented by Dr. Carmel Carona. And by the end of every day, an interactive question and answer session was also organized. The conference highlighted many topics. Main topics are future directions in the field, innovations and techniques, overview on the latest advancement in medical imaging and radiation therapy, artificial intelligence in medical imaging, updates on radionuclide therapy and dosimetry, and very interesting topics covered also the role of medical physicists during the COVID-19 pandemic. At the end of each lecture, questions were presented for the purpose of making sure that the participant actually attended the session, and for active interaction between participant and the presenter, and for the participant to obtain the CME credit from attending the lecture. The conference has an outstanding registration record with more than 2,900 participants from Middle East region and also from other countries in Asia, and then from Europe and from North America, and 1,900 participants actually attended this conference from 81 countries. The participants who fulfilled the accreditation criteria and got the certificate were about 500 participants from 48 countries, and this shows that this conference have a great success in bringing together medical physicists from the region and from the world. Unlike a traditional conference, an online conference holds an attractive advantage for both the host and attendees. More people can attend, hear your message, and act on what they learn. And this is, clearly shown in this online conference compared to the previous year in 2020 in-person conference that MIFOM organized. The in-person conference attracted just about 200 local participants, while the online conference in 2021 attracted more than 2,900 individuals. So you can see the difference and the advantages of having an online conference. This slide show you that medical physicists from different regions, from different countries, all joined this event, and presentation and lectures from top experts in the field were presented in this online conference, and they are also available on demand. You can access them through MIFOM website. Also, having feedback from the participant is very important. And in the following slides, I will share with you the result of the participant survey that we provided the conference participant to know better and to understand better what we need to improve in the future event, and also to have a check of what went right and what went wrong during the conference. Let's have a look now at the result of MIFOM 2021 virtual conference participant. The first question for the participant was about their occupation. As you can see here, that from this pie chart, that the majority of participants, nearly a third of the participants, are medical physicists. The second question was about the field of the participant work. Again, if you see this pie chart, you can see that about a third of the participants are working in diagnostic radiology field, and 80% radiation therapy, 14% in nuclear medicine field. And the third question was about the experience. How was the total experience of the conference? Majority of the participants said that the conference was an excellent experience for them, and also 40% said that it's very good experience. So overall results are very good and excellent participant experience from this conference. Then the next question was about how well the program structure, or how well structured was the conference program. And if you look to this pie chart, you can see that majority of the participants clearly benefited from this conference, and the structure of the program was extremely very well organized. So this is a very positive feedback. Next question was on how much knowledge they have improved after attending the MIFOM conference. As you can see from the pie chart, it is clear that the majority of participants have gained a lot of information and knowledge from this online conference, which is also another positive feedback from the participants. This is a very important question, and this is for the organizers to understand what are the main and key points that attract the participant. So this question was, what attracted you most to this conference? And you can see from the pie chart that majority of participants said that the program of the conference and the speakers are the most attracting points to this online conference. Which session attracted you most during the conference? And you can see from the result that, depending, of course, on the participant background and field of work, and this can also be shown in the number of participants from medical imaging section and from radiation therapy section. Also, you can see that the majority of participants were attracted to medical imaging session. Almost 50, half of them, and also about third of participants were attracted to radiation therapy session. To conclude, I believe that these are the main points that we have learned from this online event. The first lesson we have learned in MIFOM is that to facilitate a very good conference, you need an experienced IT technical support service, because this is an online event, so you need a very experienced IT support. So this is a key point. Okay. Also, having a well-structured program presented by renowned speakers is very important for a successful event. Virtual conference also opened new possibilities and new ways for interactive session, and to have question and answer and discussion between speakers and participants. So this is also very important. And having a pre-recording of presentation is very important, just in case there is any technical issue, then you can play the recorded presentation. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mishari. And I think by this session, I hope if there's any question, I'm happy to answer on behalf of Dr. Mishari. If there's no question, I'm very honored to represent MIFOM in this mini symposium on the status of medical physics in the Middle East region. And I'm very thankful to the organizing committee of the conference and to the technical support we already have. Thanks to Jubair Islam and to Abdullah and everyone on the team, and all the best for the conference. I wish you all the success, and thank you very much. So, are you taking over, Mr. Jubair? Jubair Islam?
আমার হল ভিডিও ই হয়ে গেছে কেন?
So I could say that from our side, the session is closed, and I'll leave it to the organizer, Jubair. I think you are available now, so thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Jubair. Can you hear me? Hello. Hi, Jubair.
Hello.
Yes, our session is over now. So,
Okay.
yeah, thank you very much for everything and all the support. And I wish you all the success with your conference. And thanks for all the support.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All the best to all our regards to Professor Hasina as well. Hasina.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
So we may conclude our session for 2 days. Our next session will be started tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you to all participants.
Cancer touches us all in one way or another. That's why we're dedicated to connecting all care to realize a world without fear of cancer. We're achieving that through intelligent cancer care. Through building shorter paths from research to remission, bridging the distance between Manhattan and Mozambique, driving a direct link from high tech to high impact, and resolutely facing today's unique challenges by connecting the world through more personalized treatment, more data-driven decision-making, more direct access to care, and a new, more unifying, smarter standard of oncology. We're all connected through intelligent cancer care.
We're not waiting for the future. We're creating it. Imagine radiation treatment that's easier, more efficient, and delivers therapies in record time without compromising on quality. Because quality of care is so important, there's innovative beam shaping technology, combined with 100% image guidance and patient positioning. This is a new way of thinking, a transformation designed to help more patients enhance their well-being and comfort in less time. Together with our customers, we've led radiotherapy innovation for years. Now we're creating its future.
Cancer touches us all in one way or another. That's why we're dedicated to connecting all care to realize a world without fear of cancer. We're achieving that through intelligent cancer care. Through building shorter paths from research to remission, bridging the distance between Manhattan and Mozambique, driving a direct link from high tech to high impact, and resolutely facing today's unique challenges by connecting the world through more personalized treatment, more data-driven decision-making, more direct access to care, and a new, more unifying, smarter standard of oncology. We're all connected through intelligent cancer care.
We're not waiting for the future. We're creating it. Imagine radiation treatment that's easier, more efficient, and delivers therapies in record time without compromising on quality. Because quality of care is so important, there's innovative beam shaping technology, combined with 100% image guidance and patient positioning. This is a new way of thinking, a transformation designed to help more patients enhance their well-being and comfort in less time. Together with our customers, we've led radiotherapy innovation for years. Now we're creating its future.
Launching a new era. PTW BeamScan, the new water phantom. Automated, wireless, fast. PTW beams you up to a new era in 3D water scanning.
I still remember that morning, the day I first set foot on the campus as a student. I couldn't imagine that the campus of a private university is so large. Yes, I'm talking about United International University. Built on 25 bighas of land, 30% is built-up area and 70% is open space. There was a large corridor in front with a lot of students. I went ahead with a surprised look. As soon as I entered the class, all the new faces stared at me. They were my university classmates. Sir entered the classroom. Lesson started. The way of teaching was different. He explained everything in a simple way. Beyond theory classes, there were associated laboratory classes on different subjects. A large number of computer labs for meeting the needs of CSE students. Circuit lab, machine lab, digital lab, microprocessor lab, communication lab. All are equipped with modern setup for producing competent EEE graduates. Civil engineer labs to prepare civil engineer students to design and build modern infrastructure. The robotics lab is the place for innovation and discovery in this era of fourth industrial revolution. In Advanced Intelligent Multidisciplinary Systems Lab, researchers are exploring the application of IT in multifaceted domains including health sector. Center for Energy Research, CER, is dedicated to do research in producing clean energy. It is thus helping the country to combat against effects of climate change. It has modern servers and data centers of international standard to keep the campus live online without interruption for a second. Proverb goes that the more you read, the more you learn. There is a spacious library stuffed with so many books and a pleasant, calm environment for serious reading. Spending time with friends in a lovely green environment was really very exciting. Large playground over the horizon cannot be forgotten. Suddenly, I was in trouble. It would be too late to get money from home. A friend advised me to go to the DSA office. I went and got an interest-free education loan. What a relief it was for me. There is no end to the benefits. There's a game room, gymnasium, nice canteen, large auditorium, plenty of benefits. Is it possible to pass without good results? So, study, study, and study. I got scholarships several times along with many of my classmates. The wheel of success of this organization is moving forward under the leadership of our Honorable VC Sir, Professor Dr. Chaudhry Mofizur Rahman. And that's why United International University has been accredited by ACBSP, IEB, CIMA, and has been ranked in Asia by QS. The main secret behind this is the quality of education and all the modern facilities. Time passes by. A special day comes. I got the certificate of graduation from the Chancellor. Today, during my busy schedules at work, even though I am far away, I still remember the key contributor of my success, the United International University. Today, graduates of United International University are working successfully in home and abroad, bearing the flag of this noble institution. United International University. Quest for excellence.
Cancer touches us all in one way or another. That's why we're dedicated to connecting all care to realize a world without fear of cancer. We're achieving that through intelligent cancer care. Through building shorter paths from research to remission, bridging the distance between Manhattan and Mozambique, driving a direct link from high tech to high impact, and resolutely facing today's unique challenges by connecting the world through more personalized treatment, more data-driven decision-making, more direct access to care, and a new, more unifying, smarter standard of oncology. We're all connected through intelligent cancer care.
We're not waiting for the future. We're creating it. Imagine radiation treatment that's easier, more efficient, and delivers therapies in record time without compromising on quality. Because quality of care is so important, there's innovative beam shaping technology, combined with 100% image guidance and patient positioning. This is a new way of thinking, a transformation designed to help more patients enhance their well-being and comfort in less time. Together with our customers, we've led radiotherapy innovation for years. Now we're creating its future.
Launching a new era. PTW BeamScan, the new water phantom. Automated, wireless, fast. PTW beams you up to a new era in 3D water scanning.
I still remember that morning, the day I first set foot on the campus as a student. I couldn't imagine that the campus of a private university is so large. Yes, I'm talking about United International University. Built on 25 bighas of land, 30% is built-up area and 70% is open space. There was a large corridor in front with a lot of students. I went ahead with a surprised look. As soon as I entered the class, all the new faces stared at me. They were my university classmates. Sir entered the classroom. Lesson started. The way of teaching was different. He explained everything in a simple way. Beyond theory classes, there were associated laboratory classes on different subjects, a large number of computer labs for meeting the needs of CSE students. Circuit lab, machine lab, digital lab, microprocessor lab, communication lab. All are equipped with modern setup for producing competent EEE graduates. Civil engineer labs to prepare civil engineer students to design and build modern infrastructure. The robotics lab is the place for innovation and discovery in this era of fourth industrial revolution. In Advanced Intelligent Multidisciplinary Systems lab, researchers are exploring the application of IT in multifaceted domains including health sector. Center for Energy Research, CER, is dedicated to do research in producing clean energy. It is thus helping the country to combat against effects of climate change. It has modern servers and data centers of international standard to keep the campus live online without interruption for a second. Proverb goes that the more you read, the more you learn. There is a spacious library stuffed with so many books and a pleasant, calm environment for serious reading. Spending time with friends in a lovely green environment was really very exciting. Large playground over the horizon cannot be forgotten. Suddenly, I was in trouble. It would be too late to get money from home. A friend advised me to go to the DSA office. I went and got an interest-free education loan. What a relief it was for me. There is no end to the benefits. There's a game room, gymnasium, nice canteen, large auditorium, plenty of benefits. Is it possible to pass without good results? So, study, study, and study. I got scholarships several times along with many of my classmates. The wheel of success of this organization is moving forward under the leadership of our Honorable VC Sir, Professor Dr. Chaudhry Mafizur Rahman. And that's why United International University has been accredited by ACBSP, IEB, CIMA, and has been ranked in Asia by QS. The main secret behind this is the quality of education and all the modern facilities. Time passes by. A special day comes. I got the certificate of graduation from the Chancellor. Today, during my busy schedules at work, even though I am far away, I still remember the key contributor of my success, the United International University. Today, graduates of United International University are working successfully in home and abroad, bearing the flag of this noble institution. United International University. Quest for excellence.